Tonight, we discuss Thai engagement parties, family drama, and a lot of tears on the 90 Day Fiancé after show. Make sure you stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin. From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro.
We are family.
Yeah, girl. Dang it.
Right. Hey, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the 90 Day Fiancé After Show. We are so excited to have you with us today. Tonight, we're discussing episode 17, season 5 of 90 Day Fiancé. But before we begin, I want to introduce you to my amazing co-host.
Hi guys, Linda Antwi here. I am family first.
Yes.
Find me at Linda So Girly all across social media.
We have so much to talk about. I'm excited. I have so many questions for you guys tonight. Let's get it started. You guys can find me on Instagram at Alex Bowers, BLWERSS, and on Twitter at Hey Alex Bowers.
What's up, everybody? I am Keith Andrei here. You can follow me everywhere on social media at Keith_Andrei. And as always, I'm ready to bring back the bot.
Yes, bring back the bot. And I'm Stacey Olivas, and you can find me all over social media at Stacey Olivas. Can I just say, wow, this episode was crazy.
It was too much.
Too much.
I can't believe they gave us like 2 parts.
Yeah, I mean, 2 hours. They jam-packed.
Yeah.
It was like last week wasn't enough. We're just gonna bombard you.
Yeah,
Right.
with just so much drama, so much new stuff going on.
It's getting so good and so juicy.
Juicy. Yes, let's jump right in, you guys. Nicole and Azan. They're back in Morocco with May, and now Nicole is going back to meet Azan's family. What did you guys think about her visit and wanting to sleep in the same room with Azan and wanted him to ask his aunt for permission?
Well, I thought we were over this whole thing. Like, okay, you're in this country, this Muslim country, just stop. He's told you time and time again that he can't do it. And the fact that she made him ask his aunt, that's pretty embarrassing, I say. You think?
I feel she's just being ignorant at this point. Like, I want you guys to compare her with David and being in Thailand and embracing the culture and just really being respectful. And then you have this girl that's like, you know what? I need to get laid. That's it. That's really what it's about, right? Let's be real. So I don't care about your Muslim culture. I read somewhere that if it's the family home, then it doesn't matter if we're married, we can stay in the same bed and we need some privacy. And I just want to add one other thing. When she said that she was a little bit like the only bad part with May being there is not having enough alone time, I wanted to slap her.
Yeah, I'm glad we're all on one accord here because I feel exactly the same. It was just overwhelming to keep hearing how badly she wants to sleep with him and how badly she wants his affection. I really did not appreciate the fact that she made him. I think it's telling, a couple of things were telling with them. So for one, for him to say like, I felt like I didn't have a choice. Like, even if I didn't want to, she wanted me to, so I had to do it. And I think that's a key indicator that maybe this relationship isn't going to work. And then I thought it was super interesting to find out that he didn't really want to take her around the first time. I don't know why. And even when they went and met his family, I just felt that everybody was so consumed with May or the idea of having a child more than he is even interested in showcasing Nicole or wanting to be with her. So, 100%. Hot mess alert.
She was the showstopper. Everybody wanted May. Nobody really paid much attention to Nicole. I mean, they said they missed her or whatever. But I mean, you're going to say that, right?
I mean, she was the glue that's keeping this relationship together,
100%.
which is unfortunate because she's not a pawn. She's a kid, right?
Yeah.
But I think that with, Nicole, she's like a crazy lady. She's thirsty.
She is. And we got to see the leash come back.
Leash
and
was
brought
back
that leash
tonight.
out. It was necessary. We get it. So it was nice to see them out and about. I think, we got a bit of culture from them, seeing the, most famous mosque and all of that. But I just hated that that moment was overwhelmed or was taken over by the fact that she just wants this affection and this attention from him.
Yeah,
instead of, like you said, just embracing it and showcasing and learning new things. You're just all about the bedroom.
How often are you in Morocco? Do you know what I mean? Like, embrace the culture. Go to the market, look at the mosque, embrace it, and teach your daughter a little something, because how often are you there?
Yeah.
When do you get that opportunity? But no, she's like, oh, look, it's big.
And speaking of the culture, what did you guys think about them speaking about Muslim and becoming Muslim, their future kids becoming Muslim? What did you think about Nicole's response to that, which was, I just want a balance of both Muslim and her religion?
Yeah.
I can agree.
then-
I wouldn't necessarily make my child be whatever I am, you know? And Azan kind of says that.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to introduce this to my kids,
Yep.
our future kids, but at the end of the day, they're going to be able to choose what they want to do. And I think that's the right way to do it. That's the right attitude to have.
Yeah, 100%. I wasn't expecting that from him. So I was
either.
surprised that
Yeah.
he was, showing us how open-minded he could be when it comes to their religious differences. So I think that's a benefit to their relationship. But I just to go back 1 second to the whole intimacy thing, because for a moment we got to see him kind of talk about it like, I don't know if I want to be intimate with her. At this point, I don't know if he wants to be intimate with her.
I think when his aunt said, you guys cannot sleep in the same room, it was literally,
yes.
thank God. Let me go ahead and have this conversation with her. Let's just talk it through, pretend that I care, and let me get out this room.
I go now.
Yeah, he said, I go now.
And she did put him in an awkward moment with his
it's-
aunt. That's his family.
And even if they weren't, like, even if it was here in America, like, who feels that comfortable? If I'm visiting for holidays, family, and I'm, I have a boyfriend or this, who is that comfortable to, like, really ask and say, like,
Right.
For
just
someone that you
respect it.
just met.
Yeah.
You just met, you just went into this woman's house for the first time.
No respect.
And now you have all these demands.
Yeah.
Like, you sound ridiculous.
And then give it more time. It was just like, we're having this great conversation. We're going back and
Yeah.
forth. We got to see how his mom feels about him. And then she's like, okay, now. How about now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
He was like,
now?
yeah, he was like, huh? Like,
selfish.
she ruined the moment.
This is not a good time.
And she really made, because I'm really big on watching the body language, and she really made everyone feel uncomfortable, And then you got the politically correct answer because everyone was feeling uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
Azan, you know better.
Right.
You
Why
know
would
what
you
I'm-
even
why would you
ask
even
this
ask me
question?
that?
Hey,
Right?
but after that, he said, well, I just don't want you to be mad at me. Like, I'm happy
Exactly.
you're not mad at me now.
Right. And
After
he
she asked.
kept saying it. So I led me to like think about the nature or like the composition of their relationship, because even though she was saying no, he was like, I just want to be sure. He had all this anxiety around
Well,
it.
because, their first trip didn't go so well, and they fought all the time,
Yeah.
and I think that he wants this trip to be a little bit differently, or end up different. And I also think that we saw day one, they were already fighting. So, like, can you imagine you have someone that's going to be with you for 2 months? You're like, you know what? I'm good on the fighting. Let's just whatever you want.
Well, I
Yeah.
kind of think of it different. I think the reason he asked was so that he could get, like, he knew what the answer was going to be.
get it out the way.
To get it out the way. Like, okay, he didn't want to ask. It was embarrassing. It made him feel awkward. But, hey, if I go ahead and ask and I can tell her the answer right here, I don't have to worry about this anymore.
That's true. I
Yeah.
agree with that too.
Yeah.
He's like,
So,
this is my backup. I told you I can't sleep with you. I can't sleep with
Yeah.
you.
Right? But
That's
it'll
what
be
my aunt said.
interesting to see how and if their relationship progresses without that component, because we know by now that that's a key piece for Nicole, and without it, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But we also saw some affection between them in the car ride there, and I haven't seen that.
I don't know if I
It
count
was
that
a
as
little
re-
touching
It was
going
more
on.
awkward.
She was
and
like she was like looking at him like,
and he was just like,
He's like, yeah.
yeah. He's just kind of like,
I'll hold
chilling.
you.
I'm gonna give you this moment, but
And then May's over there on the iPad.
Right.
It wasn't,
it's weird. It's so uncomfortable.
I'm telling you, this guy's putting in the work. That means it better come
Putting in
quick.
a lot of work. Yeah.
What's
So
our
my
for
question
the-
to you guys is,
Okay.
do you see the light at the end of the tunnel after this episode with this couple?
That light is dim. That light is out.
I don't see it either.
They ain't going nowhere
And
but
they're
to
flickering
America.
right
And
now.
there is no Home Depot anywhere near for
Right.
them
We
to replace
see
it.
we see some good moments between them, but at the same time I still feel like it's kind of forced.
Yeah, I feel like they could function, but ultimately they're not going to be able to function because she needs affection, she needs attention, and she's just not going to get that from him. She needs to cut her losses and get on that plane, take
Yes.
your child, and find somebody else.
If you haven't already, Nicole.
Seriously. Okay, the next couple, speaking of visits across the world. The next visit that happened was Elizabeth and Andrei. Elizabeth went and visited Andrei in Ireland. What did you guys think about her visit? And what did you think about Andrei?
I saw the chemistry.
Right.
When they were together, when they got to the airport, when she showed up and the kissing, I'm not trying to be like the only one. You guys agree?
I agree.
It was there.
I thought they were super cute togetger.
Yeah.
I was so glad that because we've been waiting to meet him and we've been waiting to get over there to Dublin. So I was glad we finally got there. I can see where he comes across as like a little bit abrasive, but I don't. I think he's a good guy, especially because near the end, where they're considering he's got the interview coming up. Maybe I'll pass, maybe I won't, and he's like, well, guess what? Worst case scenario, you'll come to Dublin. So it's not like I just want to be in America. It's like if I can't get to America, we'll still be married, and you can come here. Granted, that presents another set of problems, but I feel more comfortable with the idea of him, and I think that they look cute together.
Like they're in love, like truly in love.
I wouldn't say all that. But I think it's kind of interesting how it's okay for him to have to pick up and move, but when they talk about, okay, maybe if this doesn't go through, you're going to have to come over here, it's, well, what about my family? Well, what about his family?
That's such a great point. And
it's about what am I going to do? I mean.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, I think I have written that down too, because a lot of the couples, they see it from that perspective and they don't take into consideration the other person. And I think that that's unfortunate because they miss out on kind of building a better relationship.
Yeah, they do.
My first impression of him was that he was pretty laid back. Like, he's not stressing about anything. He's like, I'm with you. We're going to be together. Doesn't matter if we're here, there, if your family wants it, if your family doesn't want it, we're together. So I thought that was really interesting for his character, considering like the build up to him being like kind of chauvinistic and old school. So I like them together. I don't think we've seen enough of them together for me to form a 100% opinion. I saw a little bit of spark, but I don't know if that spark was, hey, I haven't seen you in 7 months or 8 months or how long. I'm super excited to see you.
Yeah.
Because their interaction when they were talking, I felt they were lacking a little bit with the communication.
Absolutely.
She was trying to say, hey, listen, our interview is in 2 days. It's super important. We need to, like, what happened? Yeah. 10 years ago, you overstayed. Did you get any? He's like, psst, that was 10 years ago. We're in the now. Who cares? Like,
right?
No.
Maybe that's where her family feels like he's a little dominant. Like, he's in control, kind of.
I don't think so, but I also think you need to learn about your man. You're about to marry him, and when you went to the lawyers last time, you knew nothing about him, and now you're asking him, and he's really not trying to communicate. That, to me, is a red flag.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important that she gets those answers. And a red flag to me, as cute as they are together, was as soon as she brought it up, he immediately got defensive before she can even get out the question about the overstaying before it. Like, he just was like, she needs to be positive, the lawyer, and why she's doing that, and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, okay.
There's more to the story.
We got a problem here. Yeah, I think there's more for sure. And I even think him, like, being so lackadaisical with it and like, oh, well, it's in the past. I don't think, because I know she mentioned feeling that he wasn't taking it as serious or he didn't get the weight of it, but I think that's him just trying to sweep under the rug what it really is.
I agree with you 150%. And there is more to this story. I'm sorry.
No, and during this episode, he was also kind of like pushing her to like move over there. Did you guys see that a little bit? Where she was like, I'm a little worried. Like, what about my family? And he's like,
well, that kind of brings me to my question. So, and then we can get into that.
So
do you think she's getting played? Do you think that he knew he would not get over there and that she would have to come over here? And so he's just going along with it. I mean,
I think so.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to give you the maybe.
Maybe
so, maybe not. Because it's still too early for us to like really gauge and know the answer. Yeah. I think that who wouldn't come into this process wanting to come to America? Yeah. He's been before, so it could be just a 50-50 luck of the draw for him. If I get it, then cool. If not, then I'm gonna have me I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna play off of that a little bit. So if he goes to America, jackpot, I'm in America, land of the dreams. But if not, I still get to marry her, and that could be like a ka-ching, ka-ching, big family, because her dad, remember, her dad supports like 10 kids. So he's not going to let her be out there with no money, right? And he did really bring up how, where he's from, that it's the poorest country in Europe, and he's a bouncer in Ireland. Like, I mean, okay.
A check is a check.
He's on the come up.
I mean, either way,
he wins.
It's possible.
A win-win
He wins.
situation.
Yeah, he does.
It's
I agree.
possible. We don't, like I said, I'm holding my judgment on this one till I see a little bit
I
more
feel like
from
we've
them.
just been having to hold out our judgment on them for so long. Like,
'cause we
give us what we need already.
We finally just met him.
I know,
and it
I
was
know.
for like 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to see so much more of
Yeah.
them.
I definitely think that he wants her and he wants to take her away from her family.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I just see that. Like, he has that dominance control vibe about him. That's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to stay in America, so you're coming with me and whatever your family.
Yeah.
You're with
Right.
me. Yeah.
I think he's
I see
comfortable.
that.
He knows what he's doing. That's why I said yes. He wants her over here. Yes, America is the ticket. Like, that's where everybody wants to be. But because he knows how much trouble he's gotten in when he did come to the U.S. with the whole visa situation, you know, I mean, I just think it's easier for her to come over to where he is. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
When that interview comes up, we will know.
see.
The
I
answer.
cannot wait. Oh my God. I cannot
Right?
wait to see the interview.
Secrets will be
Put us in the
revealed.
room. We need to know. We need answers.
Speaking of secrets,
Yeah. Next. Molly and Luis. What did you guys, how did you feel about Luis's situation?
Can I just
being
say
just
something?
rejected over and over by everyone
can I just say
in Molly's
something?
family.
All right, viewers, I know that you guys have watched this for a few weeks, and you know my co-hosts know where I stand with this. I've been very hard on Luis. I have talked about, you know, the Dominican come up.
Right.
Okay. I wanted to cry for him in this episode.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe Alex. He really, maybe, I'm saying maybe, he really loves Molly. And why I say this is because he is like getting punched left, right, center, left, right. Olivia hates him, pow. And then this little girl, Kingsley,
You're
is
not my
like,
dad.
Not only you're not my dad, I don't like you.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't love you. I only love boom boom boom. I was like, oh whoa.
Yeah.
And then you go to dad, and dad's like, give me your hand for a sec. Nice to meet you.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I-
Wow. And he's still like, you know what? I'm here. I love her. I'm gonna marry her. It doesn't matter. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, I think he's putting forth the effort. I mean, as soon as we jump back into their story, it's been a day. Oh no, he's been there for a week.
Yeah.
I'm already put in a position where I learned that Molly works all the time, and I've got a babysit Kinsley who talks all the time. I thought it was so cute to see them interact together. How giving he is, how patient he is. You know, wanting to play with her and teaching her the Spanish words. I thought that was so cute, and it showed us that he does have a quality to where if he's making this decision and he wants to be married or in a relationship, then he's going to be, give 110%. So I really enjoyed that. But then when Kinsley, she just snapped on him, and I was like, oh my gosh. On one hand, I felt the conversation was a little inappropriate to have without Molly, or kind of, to be that young and to just not know this child or her father's history or just any of that, to just try to present yourself in that manner. And it could be because of your culture or whatever, but I just felt really, really bad that we got to see that. I don't know if Molly's the best parent, but her children are rude and they're disrespectful.
Well, she's a little girl. She's just going to be straight up. I mean, you tell her, I'm your father, basically, is what he was saying. I'm going to be your dad. And she only knows her real dad.
That's true.
So it's no, never. She was serious. And I think like kids they don't sugarcoat anything. She was
Yeah.
straight up.
For sure. I don't think that he has the language to necessarily kind of communicate it the way that he wanted to, so that it would make sense for her. And as a result, she really was like, no. And I was
She
like,
said,
dang.
I wrote it down because
Yeah,
it
she's
speaks to me. She said, he said, I'm your new father. And she said, I already have a dad, never you, not my dad or your friend. I don't like you.
She's
End
had
quote.
to have it.
So,
Yeah.
I
And she said she
mean,
only loved her mom,
her
her sister, and Jess.
Yes.
Like she just right
But you
there.
know what?
here's
My
the
whole
thing.
thing is, he's your babysitter.
But you know what? Here's the thing. I think that, yes, part of it was a language thing, but part of it was, I think that he felt she was on his team since he's been there because she was so nice to him. Car ride home, like, look at that building. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome. I'm going to show you around the house. So that was like his ally. And then all of a sudden she just flipped on him. Yeah. And you could see in this episode it hurt his heart. He was like, what?
Well, that's why you don't leave your kids alone with people.
He been there all week. He's the babysitter, not the daddy.
You're right. Do you think Olivia's putting her up to this, though? And coaching her?
No, I think it was natural. I think that was 100% her instinct and her natural response to the situation.
Right. Because she would have went in with an attitude, I feel like.
Yeah. And what I am learning to like about, I do feel that he's a likable character. Even if he is on the Dominican come up, like I said, I don't have any problem with somebody playing their parts. We can communicate and kind of work this thing out. But I feel that he's a really good judge of character. We got to see some of those learning moments from his interaction with her father. And Molly's still like, oh no, he needs time, and he's like, no, he doesn't accept me. He's like, this is what it is.
He's not accepting
and you need to recognize that. And I don't know, so I don't know what's gonna happen with them.
And it was really sad because after Kinsley said this all to him, to cameras, he was like, I just want her to accept me before the 90 days.
Yeah. I know. I feel that his mission is to get acceptance in the course of the 90 days, and I don't think that he's going to get it. And if he does, it's fleeting. You never really know with them.
I think that he's not going to get it because I think that between the dad and Olivia, they're almost like trying to sabotage this situation.
They're double teaming.
Absolutely. With just the negativity and just being like, you know what, this is not going to happen. And when someone places doubts, you know, that's something that you plant the seed, you plant the seed, you plant the seed. So I hope that they can survive this.
And Olivia's eating it up.
Listen, I was going to say, where y'all...
She's over there like...
You saw her side.
And is that her boyfriend that she was with?
That was
like, it's okay for me to be with my man, but let's get on your man.
I was so annoyed with her because, first of all, girl, you're at the kids' table and you're all the way in this conversation putting your 2 cents in.
Right.
Nobody is talking to you.
Right, like you're the grown woman.
Right, you're the adult. No one is talking to you.
She knew what she was doing. She knew exactly what she was doing.
Yeah, she's definitely in an alliance with like her grandfather.
Yeah.
What's our question for these two?
Let's see. Do you think Kinsley is going to start pulling away from Luis?
That's a really good question, Alex.
Wow.
Let's get in the mind of a child.
I am going to go with the baby.
Well, maybe I should do maybe too. And I can,
Because I think that I don't feel that we've seen her necessarily pull away from him. I think this is, like I was saying, her natural response to kind of this line of information. I don't see it as like a complete separation, like because he said this, I'm going to stray away and not deal with him. She would still play with him.
I think that it's been Kingsley, Olivia, and Mom this whole time. I think that the novelty of having Louise come and live here is going to wear off on her, and she's definitely going to be bucking up as we saw in this episode. So I think she's for sure going to start pulling back.
I think she said, like, my dad is my dad. You're not my dad. You're not part of my family.
Yep.
You're someone I could just play with maybe, and you can babysit me when you bring it to the table, but I'm not really.
I mean, I still feel that she's young, so she has the opportunity of time to learn and to grow. Just like with a nanny or a babysitter, people may have their notions, however they feel with step parents, that whole thing. So it could develop. But I mean, I definitely hear what you guys are saying. But maybe as long as Luis plays his role and don't pull that daddy card, we're gonna be good.
And kids forget things. Kids forget things. So she said what she had to say, and the next conversation could be totally normal.
Right. Don't bring it up again.
He better come with some candies and toys.
But you know what? I do hope it would be nice to see or learn more about her father and Olivia. I don't know if they have the same father. It would be nice to kind of see that side or know where Molly stands on it. I don't see it happening either, but I would be interested to kind of know her viewpoint. Yeah.
And Molly's too busy. She's always working.
She's working. What does she do?
She used to have this bra shop.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if she still does. I think she does. Yeah.
But
she can size anybody.
Yeah, because she made it very clear at that table. I don't need help from anybody. Yeah. But it would be nice.
It's independent.
Yeah. Well, speaking of daddies, but not sugar daddies, definitely not. Annie and David.
Yes,
they are in Thailand.
That was perfect.
Yeah, that was great.
They are having a Thai engagement party, and David is just dancing away, leading the whole village through the party, to the party. What did you guys think of this party and David's visit?
I can't even hold my mule, Lord. I'm so done with David because on one hand, I thought I love appreciating the culture. So I was like, okay, we get to learn more about the culture. They have this traditional engagement ceremony. He has to give the cash out. So all that, I thought it was nice and interesting. Now, don't get me wrong. I am beginning to see that it is a bit about the bot, or it's a lot about the money. Because
bit about the bot. I like that.
If you don't have it, then this situation, as per our traditions and customs, is just not going to work. So you get to see that, even with Annie talking about coming from where she comes from, a poor village girl, and having everybody parade her and salute her. So I thought it was a nice moment that we could have had, but it always gets ruined because he ain't got no money. Mm-hmm. We learned that we knew his friends was going to show up. They were invited because he had to get more money from his best friend.
You see, I called that on episode 1.
Tag you in.
You did. You said it. So they're gonna continue to support him. I guess I'll let you guys go, and then we can get into like the next process.
Well, I'm just sad because Annie's so happy right now. I mean, you saw that with her family. Everybody's just so happy, and I mean, as far as David, you're broke in the U.S. and you're broke in Thailand. Where can he go?
You probably got more money in Thailand than he does
in the U.S. He U.S. bank. He said that.
David, how are you broke in Thailand? Like, seriously.
Well,
how?
Yeah.
My take. Okay, so obviously I'm done with David. I'm done with David because I feel like he's still hashtag done with David.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I feel like he still hasn't been 100% honest with Annie, and when he comes back to America, if he can get back to America, if Chris pays for their tickets because he has no money, then she's in for a rude awakening. So it's kind of like the Cinderella story. You have these people, all your village is there. They're dancing in the streets with you. You're handing out you're giving gold. You're doing dowries, but it's all a false facade.
For sure.
And you haven't sat down with your bride and said, hey, listen, this is the truth. We're going to be living with my best friend and his wife and their kids, but I have no money, I have no car, I have no house, I have no job. Really? Like, really?
Yeah. And tell her you don't have a bank. And
you don't have a U.S. bank.
A bank account, yeah.
Nothing.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Where is
that
homeless?
means he has nothing.
He is.
Girl,
I mean,
that's the definition of homeless.
I mean, some people don't keep their money in the bank, but he's saying, in other words, I'm broke. I just haven't told Annie. I don't have a bank account.
I have nothing. And I felt like that is a massive amount of betrayal because we get to hear her. She says, this is my dream come true, whatever, like I was saying, for poor people like me. And then we learn, okay, not only do I have to deal with the fact that you don't have no money, now we're going to be living with Chris and his wife and his child. And now I got to deal with Chris and his inappropriate ass.
Now you got to be getting some Thai massages.
And the wife didn't say anything.
She just sat there.
She didn't say anything. David didn't say anything.
He didn't take up for her.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off because he did not stand up for Annie.
I didn't appreciate that at all. Even the way he tried to initiate it by saying, "Oh, I get that you can't work, but we like Thai food. Maybe you can cook." And for Annie, she kind of took that in like, "Oh yes, I can cook for you." But then you're gonna make this pass that you want massages by the pool.
If Annie didn't say anything to him, he would not have said anything. Like, he wouldn't have voiced his opinion on the situation. She had to ask, did you tell Chris that I could give Thai massages?
Yeah.
Other than that, it's kind of like he wants her to do these chores, inappropriate chores, for money.
Because he's never going to speak up against Chris because Chris is his bank account. Mm-hmm. So if he ever, if he pisses off Chris, that's it. There's no money. And he has no money.
Yeah, but that's so disgusting.
That's what I'm trying to say to you guys. Like, at this point right now, I just feel like, David, you're just like a liar and a fraud. And you're bringing this girl into a situation that it's going to blow up in your face.
Yeah.
Because, I think that was creepy of Chris.
Yeah.
And I think it's creepy of the wife to just be sitting there like...
And she's usually the one that's like, she calls things out, very vocal.
So, in my mind, I was like, what's going on with you two that's okay? That's okay. And like, you guys are treating her like she's like some prostitute.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what's alarming, and that's the kind of grossest aspect to it, because not only do you view however Chris views David and what he is to him, and that you can take ownership or have whatever he has, like, that's crazy to me. And I feel that for Annie, it sucks to be in a relationship or in a position where you want something so badly that you're being blind to everything else. Because even like in the end when he was saying about, I got to do this, or I know she'll be on a flight back. No, in that case, I'm going to stay here. And I just hate to see people who are in that position to where you want something so badly that I'll take it and deal with what comes out of it after the fact, even though you already see in front of your face that this is not a good position to see yourself in. She keeps saying how far away she's going to be away from her family. You're going to be in these people's house, how uncomfortable and nervous you are about it.
That is so uncomfortable.
It's not a good move.
It
It's
is really
not.
not.
And he's bold for pinky promising that he's going to take care of her and that they're not going to be in Chris's house for long. Like, just disrespectful.
That came out of nowhere too.
Yeah,
It
like,
did.
like, come on.
The staying
Staying
the
at
house?
Chris's
Yeah.
house. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like
kind
we
of.
didn't know that.
We didn't really know that was going to happen, and I feel like it's going to. Poor Annie.
Yeah.
Poor
Yeah,
Annie.
but we did get to see. I mean, this is the first time I feel so far that I haven't rooted for somebody getting the visa. So they got the visa. Their 90 days is about to start, but poor Annie.
So
And that brings me to my question.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Do you think that Annie and David will stay longer than their 90 days at Chris's house?
Oh.
Girl.
That is not even a question.
Yeah.
Hashtag free Annie, though. We need to free her.
Hashtag done with David.
I mean, you don't think there's a possibility?
No, there's not. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have money. He doesn't have a bank account. Who's going to give you a home? Who's going to rent to you? Who's more? Let's just be clear.
And here's the thing, right? He's 48 years old, and I think Nikki, the wife
Yeah.
of the friend, really knows his character. Because when she was saying, you know what, you can come. Our house is your house. You know, the standard saying, which she really didn't mean, but she
Right.
said it. But you're too dependent on Chris, and I don't want you to get stuck and more dependent on Chris.
Yep.
Which is exactly what he is, and who's gonna push him out of that
Nobody.
that zone? Because no one. So now you're not like over here. You're downstairs in the basement. I'm just gonna come upstairs. Hey, I need $20. I need $50. And then 90 days, you still have to pay for a wedding.
Exactly.
No job.
Yeah.
No car.
They might
no
have to
bank
kick him
account.
out.
I'm surprised that he didn't have to have a sponsor. And I think the
I
worst.
bet you he did.
Yeah. The worst part is that we thought that we could count on Nikki to be the one to kind of give that push. Just like she said in this episode, I view him as a third child. And Chris just, coddles him and takes care of him. But she's not going to go up against it either.
Nope.
So,
She proved
What
that
is
tonight
going
with the whole
on?
massage thing.
right? But
Basically,
when
she's gonna
he
be quiet.
said, when David said short term, I'm thinking, okay, define short term for me.
Right.
Let's set some goals
Yeah.
and some
Right.
boundaries here. And how are we going to get there?
And just
And
to
when
think
do you
about
have to be
it,
out? Like,
just
for
think
real,
about
other
this,
than 90
too.
days?
He has grown children. Like, he has other children, too, to join into this whole mix of things.
They probably don't support
They
it.
don't deal with him. They ain't going to talk.
Like, I would
can't say that I
allow,
blame them.
like, if that's my
Right.
dad, I would allow him to come live with me before I let him go live with his friends. They don't allow that. They don't support it.
Yeah.
This is just a train wreck. You know when you're like, this is going to be a train wreck and you feel it? That's this.
It is.
Imagine what his
I
exes
hate
are
it.
thinking.
Oh my
laughing.
God.
Just, I mean, that's just tragic.
Oh, David.
Well, speaking of making it past the 90 days, do you guys think David and Evelyn will make it after seeing this episode?
I am
Yes.
so sad about these two because again, episode 1, I was like, oh, the fairy tale. These
Yeah.
two, you know, both Christians or both virgins. Oh, love. And I'm watching them, and I feel like David doesn't even like her. Their energy together is like more anger,
Like a
than
lot of
anything.
tension. A lot of
Yes.
tension going
And then
on.
like their body, he's like sitting like this away from her, and she's like not willing to compromise
Yeah.
with anything with the wedding, and he's like, once we get married, we're out of here. We're not living here. We're going to Virginia. And she's like,
Okay.
Like, it's just been tension this whole time.
And I think the tension is a direct result of her behavior to him. To answer your question, I do think they'll probably can get past the 90 days only because I feel that he's invested in the relationship and he knows or he's willing to communicate. Evelyn, she's a big brat. I'm really annoyed with her. She's not willing to take anything into consideration. Just like when they talked about the whole Virginia thing. And shout out to Virginia because that's where I'm from.
Oh,
So I was like, he's trying to get down to Virginia Beach. Okay, it makes sense. But I was just like, wow. Like even her family is kind of introducing these ideas and she's just being so stubborn. But I think for David, he's the type of man that is, he's made the decision. And I think he's still going to work to try to chip away at communication. I just hope, again, again, it's not a person that's willing to oversee everything because this is the dream that I was sold. I think he's learning about her and learning that he may not like her, and hopefully before 90 days, you can really make the best decision for the rest of your life.
I said that I thought that they would make it. No, actually, at the beginning, I said no.
You said no.
I said no. But then a second ago, I was thinking maybe, but again, I'm back at no because there's no compromise. And I think pretty soon he's going to be like, hold up. An 18-year-old is telling me what I can and cannot do, what friends I can and cannot invite, if they have to pay for this and that, what state I can live in. I mean, she's trying to run every part of his life. He's already come from Spain for you. And then you're not going to let him make any decisions for himself?
Yeah, and to jump off of that, you can see, too, that he has a little bit of, like, a snarky side.
Oh, for
and
sure.
I think that he's just putting it on pause because you saw it when he said, well, when she's like, well, you know, guess what? Or true story, you're American, you're marrying an American. And he's like, well, you're marrying a foreigner.
Yeah.
But especially when he was talking to Michaela and then said to her, like, I was shocked. Are you dating somebody? And she says, no. You sound like you're not dating anyone.
Right?
I was like, wow.
I was more upset with Evelyn in that whole situation.
Why?
Because you're allowing
That's your best
him.
friend?
That's your best. She was here
Yeah.
prior to anybody.
Yep.
I mean, I just don't understand how you could just sit there and she didn't take up for her. Your best friend's over here crying. You could have said, hold on. Like, you didn't have to pick sides, but hold on, you know, that wasn't right.
Oh.
Yeah.
You
that
could
was-
have
That's
said
right.
something different or phrased that differently, you know. But she didn't have.
Yeah, you're
And
not
at
going to
this-
attack my best friend.
No.
But at the same time, that's, you know, he didn't say anything different from what the conversation we saw last week that she had with Michaela herself. So what I thought was interesting was his response to Michaela showing up. We saw him be like super warm, and I thought that was telling of who he was and his culture. I would have expected him to meet her pleasantly and with a hug as well.
That's what I'm saying. There's a whole side to
Yeah,
him that's
that-
like the snark can
He's
come
like,
out.
I'm not here for it.
Yeah.
And maybe Evelyn's kind of set it up where he's already against Michaela because he's just heard
Yeah.
her talking bad about
That's right.
him.
I think so too. And I felt, you know, he kept saying how Michaela's against me or she's not giving me a chance. But to be fair, Michaela was very clear in her expression. She said, with me, I like to meet a person and then see. I'm not just going to jump on the bandwagon. So I was like, wow, how come nobody's listening to what she's saying? She's not saying she's not willing to give him a chance, right? She kept saying how I wish you guys happiness. So I felt okay with her there. But then when she brought finances, I was like, okay, girl, you need to mind your business. Like, this is why you left crying because you're doing too much.
Anyone else think that the hug was fake?
Between the two
Evelyn and
Michaela and Evelyn. I just think if you don't finish a conversation, like
Right.
she was still crying, you know, and she felt away. It was just kind of like,
Yeah,
you
because
know.
Evelyn's a brat.
She
like,
is.
It's all about her at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you're crying and boo-hoo. But
But
like,
back to what's going on
yeah,
here.
I'm still getting married, and this is our welcome party.
And you know
so-
what? I thought it was so crazy that they were having that conversation in front of everybody.
Right.
That was like so uncomfortable to
Awkward.
me.
So
yes.
awkward.
Just, and the brothers there
Something-
like, so
Maybe
yeah.
if they're across the room from each other. I'm just like, this wasn't the best time. It wasn't the right, you know, like he said, this is a welcoming party. I feel that Michaela came with good intentions. She did need to be checked because she tends to overstep her boundaries. When we saw her cry off in her, like, you know, interview, I was like, oh, that sucks. But girl, you gotta mind your business.
Right.
You mind your business.
Pull it back some. Pull it back
I
some.
would have liked to see a little bit more of the pastor and his wife and
Yeah.
that interaction because, you know, David is living with them separately. I would have loved to see, like, what his take is on the relationship because he kind of showed up at the party and then we didn't see
we
him.
didn't see them any
Yeah,
longer.
so-
We did get to see her parents respond to, you know, they said like Evelyn is the band. And that's again where we saw a bit of
His
David's
snark.
true nature because he was like, well, the band is coming with me.
That's what see? Told you.
Yeah.
There's so much
What's
everyone
up?
wants their way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between these two.
It's
It's
just like a power struggle.
power
Yeah.
struggle,
I
back
don't
and
know.
forth. Back
I do
and
want to
forth.
ask, is Michaela, do you guys think Michaela's going to be the maid of honor?
No.
Do you think she'll be in the bridal party?
If she ends up accepting the relationship, sure. But even if she doesn't, she's gonna do it for her best
Yeah,
friend.
she is.
Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day,
She loves the
she
best
loves
friend.
her.
And we got to see that clearly. With all of the emotion and the tears, I think that was a clue or an indication for her to say, you know what, I'm just going to have to suck it up and eat this one.
Yeah.
Because this is my friend and I'm going to be there for
Yeah.
her.
And I think too, it's also just a sign of immaturity. Like at 18, accepting your friends' boyfriends. That's a little, I don't know, during that time, you're kind of
Yeah.
still growing up,
Yeah.
That's so true.
learning.
So true.
And my question is, do you
Okay.
think that Michaela and Evelyn's relationship will start to fizzle out once they get married?
Maybe.
Are you serious?
What do you say?
Why do you say no?
Am I the only no? on
Yes,
your side?
explain.
Okay, because here's my prediction. I don't think that when I saw her crying in her face, Michaela's face, and she's looking at Evelyn, in my mind she was thinking, you know what? This isn't gonna last, and you're gonna come running back to me, and I'm gonna be here as your best friend. So it's cool. So I don't think that their relationship is gonna fizzle, and here's why. This guy is setting up, can you guys see it? He's setting up this whole situation. He wants to take Evelyn away from her family, wants to go to Virginia, wants to break up the band, is fighting with the best friend. Like, these are all like isolation stuff.
Yeah.
And when she's in Virginia, because she's going to end up in Virginia, if they end up getting married, who's she going to call? She's going to call her best friend. So
Yeah, but
that's why I said no.
conversely, I want to say I think that's exactly why it is going to fizzle out. Naturally, Evelyn's already made the decision that she's going to choose her man over her best friend, not unlike many, so that's perfectly fine. We are going to see them go down the aisle. She is going to end up in Virginia away. You got long distance kind of friendships. Adult friendships are the worst as well. So I think it's going to be a natural progression because she's going to choose David, and we're going to have to see how much David is going to be interested in letting that type of person or that type of energy be a part of their lives.
We'll see. Guys, we missed the K1 visa segment last week.
Oh, gosh.
And I want to just throw in a couple of questions, and I want my co-host to think about these answers. You can say your answers verbally. You can say pass, but you have to answer the question. So I want you to think about, if you're in a relationship right now or a relationship you've been in, if we were to ask you these questions in our K1 90-day AfterBuzz Love, would you be able to answer these questions? How long have you known each other?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm like scared to answer right now.
What's your fiance's parents' first and last names?
Yep.
Maiden names.
Ooh, that's a...
No.
Do you know everywhere your fiance has worked?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, for the most part.
Right.
Where do you plan to live? Easy question. When and how did you meet? Easy question. How long has your fiance lived at his current address? Or her current address?
Yeah.
Okay. Where did they live before that?
Stacey's not answering any questions.
I know, she's just smiling. Your fiance's religious background.
Yes.
Your fiance's parents' religious background.
Yep.
Siblings.
Yeah.
Marriages, previous marriages.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope they're not.
See, the questions are getting easier and they're getting
They
a little
are.
cockier. Getting a little cockier, but they're all not that easy. So I'm going to leave you guys there. We're going to ask more questions because there's a ton of questions you get asked at this interview, and those are just the beginning. So I want you guys to think about your fiancés, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your partners, whatever, and keep questions in mind because next week when we come back to this, I have a whole bunch of questions.
Oh, God.
So
And
make sure that you hashtag 90-day, what am I calling it? 90-day AfterBuzz Love. 90-day AfterBuzz Love.
Yes. And next week we'll also talk about part 2 of this episode because there's so much to discuss.
Yes.
We just want to hear from you also, so make sure you tweet us. I'm Stacey Olivas. You can find me all over social media at Stacey Olivas.
I'm Linda. You can find me Linda Is So Girly all over social media. Make sure you hit me up.
I'm Alex. You can find me on Instagram at Alex Bowers with 2 S's, on Twitter at Hey Alex Bowers.
And I am Keith Andrei. Follow me all over social media at Keith_Andrei. I want to know the answers to those questions.
That's right.
And thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you again next week. Bye.
Later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
Views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.